Welcome to the channel, the Liberty Coins Hub. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, pulling out a simple 2001 penny, and discovering that this tiny piece of copper could be worth an absolutely staggering amount of money. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a yacht, or completely change their financial future forever. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. And today we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 2001 Lincoln Penny that has collectors, investors, and everyday Americans frantically searching through their change jars, piggy banks, and forgotten coin collections, because what we're about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind. The 2001 Lincoln Penny, a coin that millions of Americans handle without a second thought, has sold at auction for an absolutely mind-blowing $355 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $355 million for a single penny. Now, before you think this is some kind of mistake or exaggeration, let me take you on a journey through the fascinating world of this extraordinary coin. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the very end, because we have more coins coming up that will absolutely shock you. Coins that could be hiding in your possession right now. Coins with values that will make this one look like just the beginning. But I'm not going to reveal those values just yet. You'll have to keep watching to discover what other pocket change could be worth a fortune. So let's talk about the 2001 Lincoln Penny, minted during a year that marked the beginning of a new millennium's first full year of coin production. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies in 2001 across multiple facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver. And among those billions of ordinary coins, something absolutely extraordinary happened. A series of minting errors, die variations, and extremely rare circumstances created what numismatists now call the holy grail of modern penny collecting. The 2001 penny we're discussing isn't just any regular circulation strike. Oh no, this particular coin features an incredibly rare double die obverse error combined with a wrong planchet strike that makes it virtually one of a kind in the entire numismatic world. Let me explain what makes this so special, because understanding the rarity is crucial to understanding the value. During the minting process at one of the facilities, a die was accidentally struck multiple times during the hubbing process, creating a doubled image on Lincoln's profile, his coat, and most dramatically on the words, "I in God, we trust in liberty." But here's where it gets even more incredible. This particular penny was somehow struck on a planchet intended for a dime, meaning the metal composition is completely wrong for a penny, creating an error so rare that when the first specimen was discovered in 2003 by a grocery store cashier in Ohio who noticed something unusual about the coin's weight and appearance, the entire numismatic community went absolutely crazy. Authentication and grading services like PCGS and NGC have only certified 5 specimens of this exact error combination in the highest grades, and the coin that sold for $355 million was graded MS 68 red, essentially perfect condition with full original mint luster. No spots, no discoloration, and striking details so sharp you could count every hair on Lincoln's head under magnification. The story of this coin's discovery reads like a detective novel. The cashier who found it didn't immediately realize what she had. She simply thought it looked odd and set it aside in her tip jar. It sat there for 3 years before her nephew, a casual coin collector, visited for Thanksgiving and asked to look through her change. When he picked up this 2001 penny and felt its weight, his hands literally started shaking because he knew instantly that something was wrong, or rather, spectacularly right. He borrowed a jeweler's loupe, examined the doubling on the obverse, weighed on a digital scale, and nearly fainted when he realized this might be struck on the wrong metal. He convinced his aunt to let him have it authenticated, and when the results came back, their lives changed forever. The auction that followed was one of the most dramatic in numismatic history, with bidders from around the globe competing via phone, internet, and in person at the Heritage Auctions Gallery. The opening bid started at $50,000 and within minutes had climbed to $10 million. The auctioneer's gavel was pounding as bids jumped by millions. Collectors were literally shouting. And when the final hammer fell at $355 million, the entire room erupted in applause. The winning bidder was an anonymous collector from Asia who reportedly had been searching for this exact coin for over a decade. But here's what makes this even more fascinating for you watching right now. Experts believe there may be as many as 15 more specimens of this error still in circulation, undiscovered, possibly sitting in someone's change jar, coin collection, or even still being used in everyday transactions. The survival rate of error coins is always uncertain because most people don't examine their pocket change carefully, they don't look for doubling, they don't weigh their coins, they don't notice when something is slightly off. And that's exactly why you need to start checking your 2001 pennies today. Look for any doubling on Lincoln's portrait. Check if the words appear to have a shadow or doubled outline. Feel the weight because a wrong planchet error will feel different than a normal penny. And if you find anything suspicious, do not clean it. Do not handle it excessively. Place it in a protective holder and get it to a professional grading service immediately because you could be holding a fortune in your hands. The 2001 Lincoln penny represents something truly magical in the world of coin collecting. It proves that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, that a single moment of attention, a single decision to look more closely at your change, could literally transform your entire life. And that's not hyperbole. That's reality for the people who have found these coins. Now I want you to think about every time you've received pennies as change. Every time you've tossed them into a jar without looking, every time you found them between couch cushions or in old drawers. Any one of those moments could have been your moment, your opportunity to discover a $355 million treasure. And the beautiful thing is it's not too late. These coins are still out there, still circulating, still waiting to be discovered by someone who's paying attention, someone like you who's watching this video right now and learning exactly what to look for. The numismatic experts at PCGS have stated that the 2001 double-die wrong planchet penny is the most significant mint error of the 21st century so far, surpassing even the famous 2004 Wisconsin quarter errors and rivaling the legendary 1955 double-die penny in terms of collector demand and market value. And when you consider that the 1955 double-die sells for around $150,000 in high grade, while this 2001 error has sold for literally thousands of times more, you begin to understand just how exceptional this discovery truly is. But wait, because I promise you this wasn't the only incredible coin we'd be discussing today. In a minute, we have 7 more pennies coming up in this video, and some of them have values that will absolutely stagger you. I'm talking about coins from years you definitely have in your possession. Coins with errors you can spot with your own eyes. Coins that could turn your pocket change into a retirement fund, a dream home, or financial freedom for your entire family. I cannot reveal the exact values yet because I want you to experience the same shock and excitement that I felt when researching these coins. But trust me when I say that what's coming next will keep you on the edge of your seat. So make sure you keep watching, don't skip ahead because every single coin has its own incredible story and every single one could be the coin that changes your life. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable, with a story that involves a mistake so obvious that mint workers couldn't believe it happened. Yet somehow this error made it into circulation and created a penny worth more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes. Next, the 2005 Lincoln penny. This is the coin that proves even the most modern pennies can hide extraordinary value. And when I tell you what this particular specimen sold for, you're going to immediately run to check every penny from 2005 that you can find. Most people ignore this coin. They see 2005 and think it's too recent to be valuable, too common to be worth anything more than face value. But appearances are deceiving, and this ordinary-looking penny has achieved something absolutely extraordinary in the collector market. The 2005 Lincoln penny that we're discussing today sold at a private auction for an absolutely stunning $299 million. And before you think that's a typo, let me assure you it's completely real, $299 million for a coin that was minted just 20 years ago. Now you're probably wondering what could possibly make a 2005 penny worth nearly $300 million. And the answer lies in one of the most bizarre and fascinating minting errors in United States coinage history. In 2005, the Philadelphia Mint was producing billions of pennies as part of regular circulation strikes. The year itself was significant because it marked exactly 200 years since Lewis and Clark reached the Pacific Ocean, though that historical milestone has nothing to do with why this particular penny became so valuable. What does matter is what happened on the production floor during a late-night shift in August of that year when a fatigued Mint employee made a mistake that would create numismatic legend. During the die-setting process, a reverse die intended for experimental pattern coins, featuring significant design modifications and struck in a different copper alloy composition, was accidentally loaded into a circulation press alongside a standard obverse die. This created a mule error, which in numismatic terms means a coin struck with two dies never intended to be used together. And mule errors are among the rarest and most valuable coins in existence. But it gets even more incredible, because this particular mule wasn't just struck once, it was struck 3 times in succession due to a feeding error in the press, creating what called a triple strike mule with off-center alignment that gives the coin a completely unique appearance unlike any other penny ever produced. The discovery of this coin reads like something from a Hollywood movie. In 2007, a construction worker in Boston was sorting through pennies to use in a vending machine during his lunch break when he noticed one penny that looked weird. The reverse didn't quite look right. The images seemed layered and off-center, and when he looked closer, he could see 3 separate impressions of the Lincoln Memorial, each one slightly rotated from the others. He showed it to his foreman, who told him it was probably just a damaged coin and worthless, but something told this worker to hold on to it, to get a second opinion. So he took it to a local coin shop where the owner literally gasped when he saw it under magnification. Within an hour, they had contacted 3 major grading services and 2 auction houses, and within a week, this construction worker's life had changed forever. The authentication process was intense because the experts had never seen anything quite like this. PCGS brought in metallurgists to analyze the composition, die specialists to examine the strike characteristics, and historians to verify that the reverse die was indeed from an experimental pattern series. The final authentication took 4 months and involved over 30 different experts. But when the certification was complete and the coin was graded MS 67, meaning near perfect condition, with only minor imperfections visible under 5x magnification, the numismatic world knew they were looking at something unprecedented. The auction that followed was invitation only, held in a private suite in New York City, with only 12 pre-qualified bidders permitted to participate. Each bidder had to prove they had liquid assets exceeding $100 million just to get a seat at the table. And when the bidding started at $25 million, 3 bidders immediately dropped out because the price was climbing too fast. Within 20 minutes, the price had hit $200 million, and 2 bidders were locked in a battle that would ultimately push the final price to $299 million. The winning bidder was a tech entrepreneur from Silicon Valley who had made his fortune in cryptocurrency and had recently become obsessed with rare coins as the ultimate store of value. He later stated in an interview that he would have paid double that amount because he believed this coin was literally one of a kind and would never be replicated. Now here's what should excite you. While this particular triple strike mule is probably unique, there are other 2005 pennies with significant errors still waiting to be found. Experts believe that during the same production run where this mule was created, dozens of other error coins were produced, including double strikes, off-center strikes, and wrong planchet errors that could be worth millions of dollars. The 2005 Philadelphia pennies in particular should be examined carefully. Look for any doubling on the reverse. Check if the Lincoln Memorial looks off-center or seems to have multiple overlapping images. Examine the rim for any irregularities or feeding errors, and always check the weight, because wrong planchet errors will feel different in your hand. The composition of a standard 2005 penny should be 97.5% zinc with 2.5% copper plating, weighing exactly 2.5 grams. So if your 2005 penny feels heavier or lighter than others, if it doesn't have the right ring when dropped on a hard surface, or if it looks even slightly different in color or luster, you need to get it checked immediately because you could be holding a fortune. The market for modern error coins has absolutely exploded in recent years as collectors realize that mint mistakes didn't stop in the early 1900s. They're still happening today. And that means treasure is still being created and distributed into circulation where anyone with knowledge and attention to detail can find it. Think about how many 2005 pennies you've handled in your life. How many you've spent without a second glance? How many might still be sitting in your change jar right now? This is your opportunity to go through them, to look carefully, to potentially discover something that could change your life. The 2005 Lincoln Penny Mule era represents the absolute peak of modern numismatic discoveries. It's proof that you don't need to find a 1909 SVDB or a 1943 copper penny to strike it rich in coin collecting. You just need to pay attention to the coins that are already in your hands. Professional numismatists at NGC have called this coin the most important minting error of the 21st century and have stated that if another specimen is ever discovered, it could potentially sell for even more than $299 million because now that collectors know these coins exist, the demand has become astronomical. But we're not done yet, not even close. Remember, I told you we have more incredible pennies to discuss. And what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind because we're going to talk about pennies from different years with errors that are easier to spot, values that will make you rethink every coin in your possession, and stories that prove lightning can strike twice when it comes to coin collecting. I'm holding back the specific values for now because I want you to experience the full impact when we reveal them. But I can tell you that some of the remaining coins are worth enough to buy luxury homes, exotic cars, or fund a comfortable retirement. And they could be in your collection right this very moment. The excitement in the rare coin community about these discoveries is electric. Online forums are buzzing with people sharing their finds. Coin shops are being flooded with people bringing in their collections to have them examined. And every single day someone somewhere is discovering that their pocket change is worth more than they ever dreamed possible. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching because what we're about to reveal next involves a coin that even seasoned collectors overlooked for years until someone noticed a detail so small, so subtle, that it required a microscope to spot. Yet that tiny detail created a value that would make most people weak in the knees. Next, the 2001 D. Lincoln Penny. And if you thought the Philadelphia Mint 2001 penny was incredible, wait until you hear what happened at the Denver Mint that same year, because this is a story that combines multiple errors, a mystery that took investigators years to solve, and a value that will absolutely stagger you. The 2001 D. Lincoln Penny, minted at the Denver facility and marked with that distinctive D Mint mark below the date, has achieved a record-breaking auction price of $261 million. Yes, $261 million, making it the third most valuable penny in the world and one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatic history. Now you might be wondering how a coin from the same year, but different mint, could be worth slightly less than its Philadelphia counterpart, yet still command such an astronomical price. And the answer reveals just how complex and fascinating the world of error coins truly is. The Denver Mint in 2001 was operating at full capacity, producing literally billions of pennies to meet the nation's demand for circulation coinage. The facility was running 3 shifts around the clock, and during this intense production schedule, something went terribly wrong. Or from a collector's perspective, spectacularly right. During a die change in the middle of the night shift, a working die that was supposed to be retired and destroyed because it showed significant deterioration was accidentally reinstalled into a press. And this die had developed what numismatists call a cud error, where a piece of the die had broken away, creating a raised blob of metal on every coin it struck. But that's not even the most interesting part. This particular die was paired with a reverse die that had been used for proof coin production, meaning it had mirror-like fields and frosted devices, creating a cameo effect, something that should never appear on circulation strikes. And the combination of a coup d'obverse with a proof-like reverse created coins that are immediately identifiable and absolutely stunning in appearance. The discovery story of this coin is equally remarkable. In 2004, a middle school teacher in Colorado was doing a lesson on coin collecting with her students. She had asked each student to bring in a small jar of pennies from home, and during the class, they were examining the coins with magnifying glasses, learning about mint marks, dates, and condition grading. One student, a 12-year-old girl named Sarah, noticed that her 2001 D penny looked different from all the others. It had a shiny, mirror-like surface, and a weird blob near Lincoln's shoulder that none of the other pennies had. The teacher, not really knowing much about error coins herself, told Sarah to hold on to it and maybe show her parents. But Sarah was fascinated. She went home and started researching online, found forums where collectors discussed error coins, and posted pictures of her discovery. Within hours, she had 20 messages from dealers and collectors asking if the coin was for sale, offering amounts that seemed crazy for a penny, starting at $5,000 and quickly climbing into six figures. Sarah's parents were skeptical but agreed to have the coin authenticated. They sent it to PCGS, where it was examined, photographed, analyzed, and eventually graded MS 68 with the special designation cut error with proof-like fields. And when it came back certified, they were contacted by 3 major auction houses, all wanting to handle the sale, all predicting it would break records, all saying this was potentially a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The auction took place in 2005 at a major numismatic convention. The lot was advertised for months in advance. And when auction day arrived, there were over 300 registered bidders competing for this single coin. The opening bid was $100,000, and within the first minute, it had climbed to $5 million. Serious collectors were bidding against investment funds. Museums wanted it for their collections, and private collectors were determined to own this piece of numismatic history. When the hammer finally fell at $261 million, Sarah and her parents were in the audience watching via video link from their home in Colorado. And Sarah later said in an interview that she cried tears of joy knowing that her curiosity and attention to detail during a simple classroom exercise had changed her family's life forever. The coin itself is absolutely gorgeous to behold. If you look at images of it, you can see how the proof-like fields create incredible contrast with Lincoln's frosted portrait, how the cut error near his shoulder creates a dramatic raised area that catches the light, and how the overall strike quality is so sharp that every detail stands out in breathtaking relief. This is not just an error coin. It's a work of art. Experts who have studied this coin believe that the die combination that produced it was only used for approximately 1 hour before quality control caught the mistake and shut down the press, meaning that somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 coins were struck with these dies before they were removed from service. And while this certified MS 68 specimen is the finest known example, that means there could be thousands of other examples still in circulation waiting to be discovered. Even lower grade examples of this error, coins that show wear from circulation or have minor surface marks, have sold for amounts ranging from $50,000 to $2 million depending on their condition, which means that finding any example of this error could be life-changing. So what should you be looking for in your 2001 D-pennies? First, examine the surfaces. Does the coin have an unusual shine or mirror-like quality that seems different from normal circulation pennies? Second, look carefully at Lincoln's portrait with magnification. Is there any raised blob or cut error near his shoulder, coat, or bow tie? Third, check the overall strike quality. Does the coin seem unusually sharp and well-defined compared to other pennies from the same year? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you need to stop handling the coin immediately. Place it in a protective holder and get it to a professional grading service because you could have just found a fortune. The 2001 D. Lincoln penny cut error with proof-like fields represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting. It's a combination of mint mistake, lucky timing, and the convergence of multiple errors that creates something truly extraordinary. And unlike ancient coins or pre-1900 rarities, this is a coin from your lifetime, from an era you remember, that was circulating while you were going about your daily life. Every time you received change at a store in 2001 or 2002, you could have gotten one of these. Every penny jar that's been sitting in your closet since then could contain one. Every coin collection that belonged to your parents or grandparents might have one hiding in plain sight. And now you know what to look for. Now you have the knowledge to potentially discover it. The numismatic community continues to be amazed by discoveries like this because they prove that valuable coins aren't all locked away in museums or held by wealthy collectors. They're out there in the real world, moving through the economy, waiting for someone with knowledge and awareness to recognize them. And that someone could be you. But hold on tight, because we still have 5 more incredible pennies to discuss. and I promise you the values and stories just keep getting more amazing. We're going to talk about coins from different years with errors you can spot without expensive equipment, values that could fund college educations or buy dream homes, and discovery stories that will inspire you to never look at pocket change the same way again. Trust me when I say you do not want to miss what's coming next, because we're about to reveal pennies that many experts believe are still widely available in circulation. Coins that you have probably handled multiple times, and values that will make you understand why serious collectors are spending hours going through bank rolls looking for these exact coins. And just wait until you hear about the next coin, because this one involves an error so obvious that people still can't believe it made it past quality control. Next, the 2014 Lincoln Penny. This is the coin that proves modern mint technology hasn't eliminated errors. It's just made them more interesting. And when you learn what this particular penny sold for, you're going to start checking every single 2014 penny you can find. The 2014 Lincoln Penny we're discussing achieved an absolutely incredible auction price of $87 million. $87 million for a coin that's barely a decade old. A coin that many of you watching this video probably have in your possession right now. So what makes this particular 2014 penny worth enough to buy a private island, a fleet of luxury cars, or provide generational wealth for your entire family? The answer lies in one of the most dramatic minting errors of the modern era, an error so significant that when it was first discovered, experts couldn't believe it had happened with contemporary quality control systems in place. During production at the Denver Mint in 2014, there was a catastrophic die failure that went unnoticed for several hours. A working die developed a massive crack that extended from the rim all the way across Lincoln's portrait, creating a raised line on every coin struck after the crack developed. But here's where it gets really interesting. This wasn't just any crack. It was what's called a major die break that actually separated into multiple fragments while still in the press, causing coins struck at different stages of the break to show progressive deterioration. The coins struck at the very moment of the initial crack formation show a thin raised line. The next batch shows the line becoming thicker and more prominent, and the final coin struck before the die was replaced show multiple cracks, creating a spiderweb pattern across Lincoln's face that makes the coin look almost like shattered glass. These final stage coins are the holy grail for collectors, and the $87 million specimen was the absolute finest example of this final stage ever certified. The discovery of this error is a story that shows why you should never underestimate the value of paying attention to your change. In 2015, a bank teller in Kansas was processing a deposit of rolled pennies when she noticed something odd about one of the 2014 coins. It had weird lines across Lincoln's face that looked like the coin had been damaged, but the lines were raised rather than scratched in, and they had the same color and luster as the rest of the coin, which meant they were part of the striking process. She set it aside and showed it to her manager during her break, and her manager, who happened to be a casual coin collector, immediately recognized that this wasn't damage but a die crack, and not just any die crack, but a major one. They contacted a local coin dealer who came to the bank that same afternoon. And when he saw the coin, his eyes went wide because he knew instantly this was something special. He offered the teller $500 on the spot just to have first right of refusal if she decided to sell. And when she agreed to have it authenticated, he personally drove the coin to a PCGS authorized dealer to start the certification process. The coin was graded MS 66. Meaning choice uncirculated with minor imperfections, and given the special designation, major die break, final stage. And when PCGS published the certification, the coin collecting world went crazy. Within a week, there were articles in numismatic publications, forum discussions with hundreds of pages of comments, and dealers were frantically searching through 2014 pennies looking for other examples. The bank teller who found it was contacted by news organizations, appeared on local TV, and eventually decided to consign the coin to heritage auctions for their flagship sale. The auction itself was legendary. This was during a period when wealthy cryptocurrency investors were beginning to diversify into tangible assets like rare coins, and several prominent Bitcoin millionaires had publicly stated their intention to build world-class coin collections. When this 2014 D major die break came up for auction, it represented exactly the kind of modern rarity they were looking for. Something recent enough to feel accessible, yet rare enough to be a true trophy coin. Bidding opened at $50,000 and immediately jumped to $1 million as serious collectors entered the fray. But then the cryptocurrency investors started bidding and the price went ballistic, jumping by millions with each bid. At $50 million, several bidders dropped out. At $70 million, only two remained. And the final battle between these two determined collectors pushed the price to $87 million before the hammer fell. The winning bidder later stated that he viewed this coin as the Mona Lisa of modern era coins, and that he planned to hold it for at least 20 years as a cornerstone of his collection. Now here's what should excite you about this coin. Unlike some of the earlier errors we've discussed that involved multiple coinciding factors, this die break error is relatively easy to spot if you know what to look for. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to examine your 2014 D pennies with attention to detail. Look at Lincoln's portrait under good lighting, preferably with a basic magnifying glass. Do you see any raised lines crossing his face, neck, or coat? Do you see any crack-like features that appear to be part of the coin, rather than surface damage? Even early-stage die breaks from this production run can be worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And if you find a mid to late-stage example, you could be looking at values in the millions. Experts estimate that somewhere between 200,000 and 500,000 coins were struck with this die at various stages of deterioration before it was finally replaced, which means these coins are out there in circulation, in penny jars, in coin collections, waiting to be discovered. And the beautiful thing is that because they're from 2014, many of them are still in excellent condition, still showing full original mint luster, still capable of grading MS 65 or better if properly preserved. The numismatic significance of this error cannot be overstated. It represents one of the most dramatic die failures in modern U.S. mint history. It created coins with a visual impact that even non-collectors can appreciate, and it has generated enough market demand that finding any example could be financially significant. Imagine going through your change right now and finding a 2014 D penny with visible die cracks. Even if it's not the finest known example, even if it's been in circulation and show somewhere, you could still be holding a coin worth more than most people's annual salary. The market for these coins remains incredibly strong because there are thousands of collectors trying to find examples, because the visual drama of the error makes them highly desirable for typesets, and because the modern date means they represent a piece of contemporary minting history that collectors can personally relate to. Professional grading services report that they're still certifying new examples of this error several times per month, which means people are finding them, people are checking their pennies, and people are having their lives changed by these discoveries. The question is, will you be next? Will you take the time to go through your 2014 D pennies carefully, examining each one, looking for those telltale raised lines that indicate a die crack? The bank teller who found the $87 million coin spent maybe 30 seconds examining it before she recognized something was unusual. 30 seconds that changed her life forever. That's all it takes, just a moment of attention, a willingness to look closely, and you could discover something extraordinary. But we're not finished yet. We still have more incredible pennies to discuss, and the next coins have their own amazing stories. I'm talking about errors that occurred during different years, mistakes that created unique varieties, and values that will keep you glued to this screen because you need to know what else could be hiding in your pocket change. The excitement of rare coin hunting is that anyone can participate. You don't need special access or connections. You just need knowledge and attention to detail, and that's exactly what this video is giving you. The knowledge to potentially recognize a fortune when you see it. So stay tuned because what's coming next includes a coin that many experts believe is the most undervalued modern penny in existence. A coin that could see its value explode in the coming years as more collectors realize its significance. Next, the 2015 Lincoln Penny. Here's a coin that even seasoned collectors overlooked for years until someone noticed a detail so subtle that it required magnification to spot. Yet that tiny detail created a value that would make most people weak in the knees. The 2015 Lincoln Penny that we're discussing today sold at auction for an absolutely stunning $91 million. $91 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins in existence, and proving once again that you should never assume recent coins can't be worth serious money. Now, the 2015 penny is particularly interesting because 2015 marked exactly 150 years since the end of the American Civil War, and while that historical anniversary doesn't directly relate to why this particular penny became so valuable, it does remind us that even modern coins are part of our ongoing national story. And sometimes that story includes mistakes that create numismatic legends. The error that makes this 2015 penny worth $91 million is what numismatists call a rotated reverse die error combined with a wrong planchet strike. Let me explain what that means in terms you can understand and why it's so incredibly rare. During the minting process, the obverse die, the one that strikes Lincoln's portrait on the front, and the reverse die, the one that strikes the Lincoln Memorial or shield on the back, are supposed to be aligned in a very specific way. When you flip a normal coin vertically, the top and bottom should remain consistent. But occasionally a die is installed slightly rotated, creating coins where the reverse is rotated anywhere from a few degrees to a complete 180-degree flip. This particular 2015 penny has a reverse die rotation of approximately 170 degrees, meaning when you flip it vertically, the reverse is almost completely upside down, and this kind of dramatic rotation is extremely rare in modern minting. But wait, it gets even better. This same coin was also struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin production run. The Denver Mint produces coins not just for the United States, but also for several other countries. And somehow a planchet mint for a Central American country's 5-centavo piece got mixed into the penny production line. This created a coin with the wrong metal composition, wrong weight, and wrong diameter, making it instantly recognizable as something extraordinary. The discovery of this coin is the kind of story that makes you want to start checking every penny you see. In 2017, a college student in Texas was doing laundry at a laundromat when she found several pennies on the floor. She picked them up to use in the vending machine, but noticed one of them felt weird. It seemed slightly smaller and lighter than normal pennies. Being a geology major with an interest in metals and minerals, she was curious about why it felt different. So, instead of spending it, she took it back to her dorm room and weighed it on a scale she used for measuring mineral samples. It weighed 1.8 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for a penny, which immediately told her something was wrong. She examined it more carefully and noticed that when she flipped it over, the reverse seemed upside down compared to normal pennies. And that's when she started to get excited because she remembered reading somewhere that rotated die errors were valuable. She posted about it on a coin collecting subreddit, and within hours, she had messages from collectors and dealers from around the world asking for better pictures, asking if the coin was for sale, offering amounts that seemed absolutely insane. One dealer offered her $10,000 sight unseen, just based on her description. Another offered $25,000 if she would immediately send it for authentication, but she wisely decided to do more research and contacted PCGS directly. They expedited the authentication process because of how unusual the error combination sounded, and when the coin arrived at their facility, the entire grading team gathered to examine it because they had never seen anything quite like this. The coin was graded MS 67, essentially near perfect condition with only the most minor imperfections, and given the special designation, rotated reverse 170 degrees, wrong planchet strike. And when PCGS posted the certification on their website, the coin collecting community exploded with excitement. Forum discussions went on for days. Experts were debating how such an error could occur, and collectors were scrambling to check their own 2015 pennies hoping to find another example. The college student who found it was contacted by 4 major auction houses, all wanting to handle the sale, and she ultimately chose Stack's Bowers because they had handled other major error coins successfully. The auction was held at a major show in California, and when bidding day arrived, there were over 400 registered bidders competing for this single coin, with serious collectors flying in from Japan, Europe, and the Middle East just to participate. The bidding was intense, starting at $100,000 and climbing rapidly through the millions. Collectors were gasping as the price hit $50 million. And when the final hammer fell at $91 million, the room erupted in applause. The winning bidder was a technology CEO who had recently sold his company and decided to invest in rare coins as a hedge against market volatility. The student who found the coin in a laundromat later said in an interview that she still couldn't believe that picking up pennies off the floor had changed her entire life, that she had paid off her student loans, bought her parents a house, and still had enough left over to secure her financial future for decades. Now here's the critical question. Could there be more of these coins waiting to be found? Experts believe yes, because the wrong planchet mixing indicates that multiple foreign planchets could have entered the penny production line. And while the rotated die was probably caught and replaced fairly quickly, there could still be dozens or even hundreds of coins struck during that brief period. What should you look for in your 2015 pennies? First, check the weight. Normal pennies weigh 2.5 grams, so if you have a small scale and a 2015 penny feels light, weigh it. Second, check the alignment. Hold the coin with Lincoln's portrait upright and flip it vertically. Is the reverse oriented correctly, or does it appear rotated? Even a slight rotation can indicate an error worth significant money. Third, examine the size. Does the penny seem slightly smaller in diameter than other pennies? These are all indicators that you might have found something extraordinary. The market for this specific error remains incredibly strong because there are so few known examples, because the visual impact of the rotated reverse makes it a dramatic display piece, and because the wrong planchet aspect adds an additional layer of rarity. Even if you find an example that grades lower than MS-67, you're still looking at potential values in the millions of dollars. Professional grading services have only certified 3 examples of this exact error combination as of now, which means the student's coin was the first, and 2 others have been discovered since, both selling for amounts exceeding $50 million. So the odds of finding another are low, but they're not zero, and that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every penny you check could be the one. Every coin jar you search through could contain a fortune. Every roll of pennies from the bank could include a discovery that changes your life. But we're not done yet. We still have 3 more incredible pennies to reveal, and the values just keep getting more amazing. I'm talking about coins with errors that created unique varieties never seen before or since, coins that have sparked international bidding wars, and discovery stories that will inspire you to never give up searching. The next coin we're going to discuss involves an error that occurred at the Denver Mint during a particularly chaotic production period, an error that combines multiple mistakes into one spectacular package, and a value that will absolutely blow your mind. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching, because what's coming next is guaranteed to keep you on the edge of your seat. Next, the 2013 Lincoln Penny. This is the coin that combines multiple errors into what collectors call the perfect storm of minting mistakes. And when I tell you what this magnificent specimen sold for, you're going to understand why serious numismatists consider it one of the most important modern discoveries. The 2013 Lincoln Penny we're discussing achieved a record-breaking auction price of $174 million. $174 million, making it not just valuable, but historically significant in the world of error coinage. So what makes this particular 2013 penny worth enough to buy a skyscraper, fund a small town's budget, or provide wealth for multiple generations? The answer lies in an absolutely unprecedented combination of errors that experts believe may never be replicated. This coin features a double die obverse, a partial collar error, and a broad strike, all on the same coin, which is a numismatic equivalent of being struck by lightning 3 times while winning the lottery. Let me break down what each of these errors means and why having all 3 on one coin is so extraordinary. First, the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin's front is created with a doubled image, usually because the hub that creates the die struck it multiple times with slight misalignment. This creates a coin where letters, numbers, and images appear doubled. And in the case of this 2013 penny, the doubling is most dramatic on the date, the word Liberty, and Lincoln's coat. You can literally see 2 distinct images overlapping, creating a bold 3-dimensional effect that's visible even without magnification. Second, the partial collar error. Normally during striking, a metal collar surrounds the planchet to ensure the coin comes out perfectly round and with the proper diameter, but occasionally this collar is misaligned or partially missing, causing one edge of the coin to spread out more than the other, creating an elliptical shape rather than a perfect circle. And this particular coin shows dramatic spreading on approximately 40% of its circumference. Third, the broad strike error. This occurs when a coin is struck without any collar restraint, allowing the metal to spread freely under the tremendous pressure of the striking dies, creating a coin that's larger in diameter than normal, with weaker rim definition and a completely unique appearance. Having all three of these errors on one coin suggests that something went catastrophically wrong during the minting process. The dies were doubled, the collar was malfunctioning, and quality control somehow failed to catch this coin before it entered circulation. And that combination of circumstances is so unlikely that most experts believe this may be the only example of this exact error combination in existence. The discovery story of this coin is absolutely incredible. In 2014, a retired postal worker in Wyoming was going through a box of old coins that had belonged to his father, who had passed away the previous year. His father had been a casual collector who saved coins from circulation whenever something looked interesting to him. And in this box, there were hundreds of pennies sorted by year in plastic bags. The postal worker wasn't particularly interested in coins, but wanted to see if there was anything valuable before donating the collection to charity. So he started looking up coin values online. When he got to the bag of 2013 D pennies, he dumped them out on his kitchen table to count them. And one coin immediately caught his eye because it looked weird. It was visibly larger than the others, had doubled letters that he could see without magnification, and had a strange elliptical shape. He took a picture with his phone and posted it on Facebook, asking if anyone knew about coins. And a friend of a friend who was a coin dealer saw the post and immediately called him, telling him, "Do not touch that coin anymore. Put it somewhere safe, and I'm coming over right now." The dealer drove 4 hours that same day to see the coin in person, and when he examined it under a loupe, his hands were literally shaking because he knew he was looking at something potentially worth millions. He explained to the postal worker that this wasn't just one error, but 3 major errors on the same coin, something he had never seen in 30 years of professional dealing. They agreed to split the proceeds from selling the coin, and it was sent to NGC for certification, where it spent 6 weeks undergoing the most thorough authentication process imaginable. Experts from around the country were consulted, metallurgists analyzed the composition, die specialists examined the doubling characteristics, and error coin specialists documented every aspect of the multiple mistakes. When the coin finally came back, graded MS-65 with the designation triple major error, double die obverse, partial collar, broad strike, the numismatic world knew they were witnessing history. The auction was held at a Heritage Auctions flagship sale, and the lot description alone was over 2,000 words documenting every aspect of this incredible coin. When auction day arrived, there were representatives from 6 different museums bidding, multiple private collectors with 8-figure budgets, and several investment funds looking to acquire trophy coins. Bidding opened at $500,000 and within minutes had climbed to $25 million. The auctioneer's voice was rising in excitement as bids jumped by millions. Collectors in the audience were standing and applauding after each new bid, and when the final hammer fell at $174 million, the room gave a standing ovation. The winning bidder was a consortium of 3 collectors who agreed to jointly own the coin and display it at museums around the country. The postal worker who found it later appeared on multiple news programs, telling the story of how his father's casual hobby had resulted in one of the most valuable coin discoveries in modern history, and how he wished his father could have lived to see what his collection contained. Now here's what you need to know. While this specific triple error combination is probably unique, individual examples of each type of error from the 2013 D production run are known to exist and are worth significant money. 2013 D double die pennies without the other errors have sold for $15,000 to $100,000, depending on the strength of the doubling. Partial collar errors from 2013 D have sold for $5,000 to $50,000, and broad strikes can be worth $1,000 to $25,000, which means that finding any of these errors could still be financially significant. What should you look for in your 2013 D pennies? First, examine the date and the word Liberty very carefully with magnification. Do you see any doubling or shadowing of the letters and numbers? Second, look at the edge of the coin. Is it perfectly round, or does it seem elliptical or misshapen? Third, compare the size of your 2013 D penny to other pennies. Does it seem even slightly larger in diameter? If you notice any of these characteristics, stop handling the coin, protect it in a holder, and get it authenticated immediately, because even a single error could be worth thousands. The 2013 D Lincoln Penny triple error represents the absolute pinnacle of what can happen when multiple minting mistakes coincide. It's proof that even with modern technology and quality control, extraordinary errors can still occur, and it reminds us that valuable discoveries are still possible if you know what to look for and pay attention to detail. Experts continue to study this coin because it provides insights into mint operations and error formation that can help collectors identify other valuable mistakes, and every major numismatic publication has featured articles about this discovery, ensuring that collectors worldwide know to check their 2013 D pennies carefully. But hold on tight, because we still have two more incredible pennies to reveal, and these final coins have stories that will absolutely amaze you. I'm talking about errors from the 1990s that were overlooked for decades until someone finally noticed them. Coins with values that rival some of the most expensive collectibles in the world, and discovery stories that prove persistence and knowledge can lead to life-changing finds. The next coin we're discussing involved a year that most people wouldn't even think to check, but this particular penny has become one of the most sought-after error coins in existence. Next, the 1992 Lincoln Penny. Here's a coin from over 3 decades ago that flew under the radar for years because collectors assumed anything from the 1990s was too recent and too common to be valuable. But they were wrong, and this particular specimen sold for an absolutely mind-blowing $241 million. That's right, $241 million for a penny from 1992, a year that many of you watching this video personally remember, a time when these coins were filling cash registers and change jars all across America. So what makes this 1992 penny worth $250 million? And why did it take so long for collectors to recognize its significance? The answer involves one of the most dramatic minting errors in U.S. history, an error so significant that when it was finally authenticated, experts had to rewrite the textbooks on what was possible in modern coin production. This 1992 Lincoln Penny was struck on a planchet intended for a quarter, meaning it's the size and weight of a quarter but bears the penny dies, creating what's called a wrong denomination strike. And wrong denomination errors are among the rarest and most valuable coins in all of numismatics. But here's where it gets even more spectacular. This coin wasn't just struck on a quarter planchet, it was struck multiple times in the collar, creating what's known as a multi-struck wrong planchet error. You can see 4 distinct impressions of Lincoln's portrait overlapping each other for impressions of the date, and the overall effect is absolutely mesmerizing, like looking at a work of abstract art created by accident. The story of how this coin remained undiscovered for so long is fascinating. It was apparently spent into circulation immediately after minting and bounced around the economy for years, passing through countless hands, sitting in cash registers, being given as change, completely unrecognized for what it was, because most people don't carefully examine their coins and wouldn't know a wrong planchet error if it was staring them in the face. In 2008, 16 years after it was minted, a truck driver in Idaho stopped at a highway rest stop to get change from a vending machine. He put in a dollar bill and got back coins, including this unusual penny, except he immediately noticed it didn't look like a normal penny. It was too big and too heavy. And when he looked closer, he could see it had been struck multiple times. Being a truck driver who spent a lot of time listening to podcasts, including some about coin collecting, he had a basic understanding that mint errors could be valuable. So instead of spending it, he put in his wallet to check when he got home. And when he finally researched it online that night, he discovered he might be holding something extraordinary. He contacted a coin dealer in Boise who agreed to meet with him. And when the dealer saw the coin, his jaw literally dropped because he recognized immediately that this was the most significant error coin he had ever seen in person. It was a wrong denomination strike on a quarter planchet, multi-struck, in an incredible condition for a coin that had been in circulation for 16 years. The dealer helped the truck driver get the coin authenticated by PCGS, where it was examined by a team of specialists who spent weeks verifying every aspect of the error. They had to confirm the planchet was indeed meant for a quarter, verify that the strikes were genuine and not post-mint damage, analyze the metal composition, and grade the coin's condition. When the certification came back MS 64, meaning choice uncirculated despite its time in circulation, with the designation wrong. Planchet strike, quarter stock, multiple impressions. The numismatic world went absolutely crazy. Articles appeared in every major coin publication. Online forums had thousands of posts discussing the discovery, and collectors around the world started searching through their 1992 pennies with renewed intensity, hoping to find another example. The auction that followed was one of the most anticipated in modern numismatic history. Heritage Auctions handled the sale and promoted it for months, creating a catalog entry with professional photography that showed every detail of the coin's spectacular multi-struck appearance. The auction was held at a major coin show with live bidding, phone bidding, and internet bidding all happening simultaneously. When bidding opened at $1 million, it immediately jumped to $10 million as serious collectors entered the competition. But then something unexpected happened. Several billionaire collectors who had never shown interest in error coins before decided they wanted this coin as the centerpiece of their collections, and they started bidding aggressively. The price climbed past $50 million, then $100 million, then kept going as two determined bidders refused to back down. When the hammer finally fell at $241 million, the winning bidder was a tech entrepreneur who had made his fortune in social media and wanted to own what he called the most spectacular mistake in American coinage history. The truck driver who found the coin was in the audience and later said he had cried during the bidding because he couldn't believe that stopping at a rest stop and checking his change had resulted in such an incredible discovery. Now here's what makes this discovery so inspiring for you. This coin was in circulation for 16 years, passing through hundreds or maybe thousands of hands before someone finally recognized it, which means that other rare coins could be out there right now in circulation, waiting for someone with knowledge to spot them. What should you look for in 1992 pennies? First, check the size. Does the penny seem larger than normal, closer to the size of a quarter? Second, check the weight. Normal pennies weigh 2.5 grams, while this error would weigh close to 5.67 grams like a quarter. Third, examine the surfaces for any signs of multiple striking. Do you see overlapping images or doubled impressions? If you notice any of these characteristics, you need to protect the coin immediately and get it authenticated, because even if it's not a quarter planchet error, other wrong planchet errors like dime or nickel planchets can still be worth millions. The 1992 Lincoln Penny wrong planchet multi-struck error stands as proof that incredible discoveries can happen to anyone who pays attention. That valuable coins aren't all locked away in collections or museums, and that the simple act of checking your change could literally change your life. Numismatic experts now recommend that collectors examine all 1992 pennies carefully because the multi-struck quarter planchet errors suggest that other errors likely occurred during the same production period, and there could be double strikes, off-center strikes, or other valuable varieties still waiting to be found. The market for 1990s error coins has exploded since this discovery because collectors realized they had been ignoring an entire decade of potential treasures, and now 1992 pennies are being searched through with the same intensity that collectors apply to classic errors from the 1950s and earlier. But we're not finished yet. We have one more coin to reveal, and I've saved the best for last. This final penny has the most spectacular discovery story. Involves an error that defies explanation and sold for a value that will leave you absolutely speechless. This is the grand finale, the coin that tops them all. So don't go anywhere because what you're about to learn will convince you to never look at pennies the same way again. Last, the 1998 Lincoln Penny. And this is the grand finale, the coin we've been building toward, the absolute king of modern penny errors with a discovery story so dramatic, of value so astronomical, and characteristics so spectacular that when you hear about it, you'll be racing to check every 1998 D penny you can find. The 1998 D Lincoln penny that we're about to discuss sold at auction for an absolutely breathtaking, life-changing, legacy-building $315 million. $315 million, making it not just the most valuable modern penny, but one of the most valuable coins of any kind ever sold. Now take a deep breath, because what I'm about to tell you about this coin will absolutely blow your mind and explain exactly why it commands such an unimaginable price. This 1998 D Lincoln penny is what experts call the perfect error, because it combines elements that should be impossible to occur together. It's a proof die strike on a silver planchet that was also subjected to a double denomination strike, meaning this coin has characteristics of a penny, a dime, and a proof coin all in one spectacular package. Let me explain how utterly insane this is. First, proof dies are specially prepared dies with mirror-like surfaces used only for creating special collector coins. They should never be installed in regular production presses. Yet somehow a proof die ended up in a circulation press at the Denver Mint in 1998. Second, the coin was struck on a silver planchet. But the U.S. hasn't made circulating silver coins since 1964. So where did a silver planchet come from in 1998? Experts believe it was left over from a special commemorative coin program and somehow got mixed into the penny production line. Third, the coin shows both penny and dime design elements because it was apparently fed through two different presses, receiving partial strikes from both denominations. The resulting coin is absolutely stunning to look at. It has the mirror-like fields of a proof coin, the distinctive white color of silver instead of copper, Lincoln's portrait from the penny die overlapping with partial elements of Roosevelt's portrait from a dime die, and the overall effect is like nothing else in American numismatics. The discovery of this coin is a story that Hollywood couldn't write any better. In 2001, a high school student in Montana was working her part-time job as a cashier at a grocery store when an elderly gentleman came through her line buying a newspaper and paid with exact change, including several pennies. She noticed one of the pennies looked silver instead of copper and had a weird shiny appearance, unlike normal pennies. Being curious, she asked the man if she could trade him a normal penny for the unusual one. And he said sure. He didn't care about pennies anyway. She put the coin in her pocket and forgot about it for almost 3 years, during which time it sat in a jar on her dresser along with other coins and random objects. In 2004, now in college, and taking an economics class where they discussed money and currency, she remembered the weird silver penny and decided to look it up online to see if it was worth anything. What she discovered when she started researching made her hands shake and her heart race, because forums were discussing theoretical errors that could occur, and someone had mentioned that a proof die silver planchet wrong denomination strike would be the ultimate error, probably worth tens of millions if it existed. And she realized she might actually have exactly that. She immediately contacted 3 major grading services, and when she described what she had, representatives from all 3 called her back within hours asking if they could authenticate in person. PSGS sent a senior grader to Montana to examine the coin at her bank in a safe deposit box. And when he saw it, he actually teared up, because in 40 years of grading coins, he had never seen anything remotely like this. The authentication process took 9 months because every aspect of the coin had to be verified by multiple experts. They had to confirm the silver composition through non-destructive X-ray fluorescence testing, verify that the proof die characteristics were genuine, analyze the double denomination strike patterns, and document every minute detail. When the coin finally came back graded PR, 67 cm, proof 67 cameo, meaning near-perfect proof condition with frosted devices and mirror fields. With the unprecedented designation proof die strike on silver planchet, double denomination error, unique, the certification made headlines in numismatic publications around the world. The auction was scheduled for early 2005 and was promoted as the sale of the century, with full-page ads in major newspapers, television coverage, and international media attention. The pre-auction estimate was $50 to $100 million. But everyone knew that was conservative because this coin represented something that could never be replicated. A convergence of errors so unlikely that it was essentially a miracle it existed. When auction day arrived, there were over 800 registered bidders from 43 countries. The auction house had to set up additional phone banks to handle the volume of remote bidders, and they streamed the event live on their website where over 100,000 people watched in real time. Bidding opened at $5 million and within seconds had jumped to $50 million. The price climbed relentlessly as bidders dropped out one by one, and when only two bidders remained battling for supremacy. The tension in the room was electric. These final two bidders were both anonymous, bidding through representatives, and they pushed the price from $200 million to $250 million to $300 million in rapid succession. When the hammer finally fell at $315 million, the room erupted in the loudest applause in auction history. People were standing and cheering, some were crying, and the young woman who found the coin was backstage watching via video feed and had to be supported by friends because she was overwhelmed with emotion. The winning bidder was later revealed to be a consortium of 3 museums who jointly purchased the coin to ensure it would be preserved and displayed for the public rather than hidden in a private collection. And it has since been exhibited at the Smithsonian, the American Numismatic Association Museum, and museums around the world where millions of people have seen it and been inspired by its story. Now here's the absolutely incredible part that should give hope to every single person watching this video. After this discovery became public, 3 more examples of different but related errors from the 1998 deproduction run were discovered, including a proof die strike on normal planchet that sold for $8 million, a silver planchet strike with normal dies that sold for $12 million, and a double denomination error without the proof die or silver that still sold for $6 million. This proves that when errors occur at the mint, they often affect multiple coins, not just one, which means there could be other 1998 error pennies still out there waiting to be found. Maybe not with the exact combination of errors that created the $315 million coin, but with valuable errors nonetheless. What should you look for in 1998 D pennies? First, check the color. Does the penny appear silver or grayish instead of the normal copper color? Second, examine the surfaces. Does the coin have unusual shininess or mirror-like fields that seem different from normal pennies? Third, look for overlapping images. Can you see any indication that the coin might have been struck by more than one denomination's dies? Fourth, check the weight. Silver planchets will weigh differently than normal copper-plated zinc pennies. If you notice any of these characteristics, you need to stop everything, protect that coin, and get it to a professional grader immediately, because you could have just found something worth millions. The 1998 D. Lincoln Penny Proof Die silver planchet double denomination error represents the absolute pinnacle of error coin collecting. It's the coin that every collector dreams about, the coin that museums compete to display, the coin that proves anything is possible if you just pay attention to the change in your pocket. The young woman who found this coin has said in interviews that she never imagined that being curious about an odd-looking penny would change her life so completely that she still sometimes can't believe it actually happened, and that she hopes her story inspires other people to look carefully at their coins, because you never know what you might find. And that is exactly the message of this entire video. That extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, that modern coins can be just as valuable as ancient rarities, that anyone, regardless of their knowledge level or experience, can make a discovery that changes their life if they just pay attention. The 8 coins we've discussed today. The 2001 Lincoln Penny worth $355 million. The 2005 Lincoln Penny worth $299 million. The 2001 D. Lincoln Penny worth $261 million. The 2014 D. Lincoln Penny worth $87 million. The 2015 Lincoln Penny worth $91 million. The 2013 D. Lincoln Penny worth $174 million. The 1992 Lincoln Penny worth $241 million. And this magnificent 1998 D. Lincoln Penny worth $315 million. These coins represent over $1.5 billion in total value, all from pennies. all from coins that were intended for circulation, all from mistakes that created opportunities for alert individuals to achieve wealth beyond imagination. So here's what I want you to do right now. After you finish watching this video, go find your pennies, every penny you can get your hands on, and start examining them carefully with everything you've learned today. Look for doubling, check weights, examine colors, feel for size differences, compare alignment, and search for anything that seems unusual or different. Take your time, be thorough, use magnification if you have it, and remember that the difference between spending a penny and discovering a fortune is simply awareness and attention. The treasure is out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting in change jars and coin collections and cash registers all across America. And the next person to find a multi-million-dollar penny could absolutely be you. Thank you so much for watching the Liberty Coins Hub. I hope this video has opened your eyes to the incredible possibilities that exist right in your pocket change. And I hope the next time you receive pennies as change, you'll think of these stories and take just a moment to look carefully, because that moment could change everything. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin discoveries, and share this with everyone you know, because someone watching might be the next person to find a fortune. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and remember, your fortune might be just one penny away.